Aruna podcast, episode number 8. We've got some special guests here today. One, a former referee who did it all within the confines of the field of play and now known as the headmaster, schooling us with the latest refereeing from the men in charge of the whistle. Next to him, we've got a journalist extraordinaire in Lorenz Kohler. He, alongside a lot of your colleagues, have got the responsibility of shaping a lot of opinion. Very good afternoon to both yourself and Mr. Hlungwani. Really appreciate your time, sir. I want to start with you because in this ever-changing landscape, how important does your role remain?
It's a very difficult space to be in because it's changed a lot.
Yeah.
From when I was growing up, I was reading Kickoff magazine and newspapers and things like that, to a space where now mostly everything is digital. I mean, doing podcasts and things like that, things on YouTube. So it is a difficult space to navigate because you were a football fan and then boom, you're thrown into this thrust of you can't have certain opinions and certain biases and things like that. And there's a lot of people out there that want to point fingers at you and to attack you, and you don't realize how big your role is in the industry and in this landscape until people start attacking you, for example. Over the past 3 years, I went from being relatively unknown to having like millions of followers. And then it only dawns on you that it is a powerful tool and it can shape the discourse of the public opinion. For example, last season, Ronwen Williams was doing exceptionally well. And if we didn't decide to go to SuperSport United one day and ask Gavin Hunt, who does he think should be the footballer of the season? And he said a goalkeeper should never win footballer of the season. That went out and all of a sudden they were leaning towards his teammate, Tebogo Mokoena, for example. So I think it is very important, national team selections. Even if you don't speak about the player, they might not even get interest from abroad. And a lot of things, you know what I mean? We can make or break footballers.
Make or break footballers, make or break referees as well, Mr. Again, your time always appreciated, sir. And we are living in a period where there's so much focus on the man in the middle. How much preparation does a referee and his team actually do ahead of a game of consequence? Nedbank Cup final or Soweto Derby or games like this? From that stature to the everyday game as well, how much preparation can you possibly do if you're working on Wednesday and there's a game on Saturday?
Yeah, good afternoon, Lwazi and Lorenzo, the one who writes very bad things about me. Now I've retired. Now you can write good things about me. Lwazi, when it comes to the game of football, I was fortunate. I came from a good school. There was a gentleman called Zakaria Musetle. He used to recite the referee's chart in his head. Yeah. So as he was teaching us, he would tell law 1, the field of play, law 2, the ball, law 3, number of players, law 4, players' equipment. So all those things got into my head to such an extent that when I get to the field, in terms of the knowledge of the laws of the game, one was okay. Yeah. And all those referees who have been taught by that old man, they can still perform better on the field of play. Now, as generation grows, you know, we have other people, they will use different methodology. Does it work or not? It's for Lorenzo to judge. But in terms of match preparation, there's what we call qualities of top referee. If you are a referee at the PSL, there are certain qualities that you must possess for you to be there. Right. One, knowledge of the laws of the game. Very, very important. Confidence. You know, you can name a few, but then in doing match preparations with those qualities, it helps you to be decisive and when you make a decision. Right. In this case, where we are now, you see a lot of wrong decisions, eh? Now you look at the knowledge.
You said it, not us.
Yeah, you look at the knowledge of the laws of the game. Yeah. You put a question mark there and say, here we need to improve.
How difficult then do you feel it is or has been for referees and officials to stay on top of all of that, where in the last decade, laws and rules are changing pretty much every 2 years?
Remember, you have to make a decision within 3 seconds. And depending on your viewing angle, if your viewing angle is bad, you come up with a bad decision. But if your viewing angle is good, they always say, fight for a viewing angle. Right. In my case, I was not a fast runner, but I will fight for a viewing angle where I will be able to see that, that one is a penalty. Remember the penalty I gave Chiefs versus Pirates when Da pulled on Billiard? Yes. I was far, but I could see the pulling. And then some said, but the referee was far. And then someone asked, but did he get the decision correct? The answer was yes. What more do you want? Because Victor is slow. I fight for the viewing angle to get the correct decision. I hope these young referees can also learn that viewing angle is very important in a game of football in order to give a credible decision. And all what people want, all what Lerozo want is a credible decision. That's what.
Yeah.
And he will write, the referee was good.
And then he writes a
Not
credible
so.
story, right? You've probably been asked this extensively over the last couple of years. How ripe and ready do you think South African football is for VAR?
Loazi, remember in 2010, France came to South Africa with a Thierry Henry handball.
Right.
He scooped the ball cross goal. And FIFA was not keen on introducing VAR. But after that incident, because it was clear to the whole world that, here we need somebody to help the referees. And then now VAR, FIFA started to understand that we need technology in football. They started to introduce it. And VAR only enters on 4 critical areas. Goal or no goal, penalty or no penalty, straight red card, and mistaken identity. Only these 4. And if you can check in a game of football, these 4 forms a huge component of the game where people talk. Especially penalty area incident, where penalty given or not given, straight red cards. We have seen a number of them. In the recent AFCON, 11 penalties were given through VAR. Referee did not see anything, even Pesita when he was kicked. The ball, Nigeria went to attack, they scored, and then VAR said, come, something happened there. So you can see the importance of VAR in our game. We should have been knocked out without going to extra time and penalties in the AFCON, but VAR assisted us to go to another level. So VAR is the way to go, and it will really help South African football with the state in which we are. Even Gomez said it, that the only thing to help our referees is VAR. So I'm happy that something is happening. So wait and see.
As fans of different teams, we've all had very different experiences with VAR. From where you're sitting, are we ready for it?
We spoke to Mr. Gomez in the week. I mean, he said it's a lot more than just having the technology. It's also educating the referees on how to use VAR, and then also having a buy-in from everyone. So he says perhaps we don't have the infrastructure at, let's say we're going to Mpumalanga Stadium or Athlone Stadium, might not have the infrastructure. So he says that it is in play, but I do think that there's a unanimous decision that we do need to help our referees with the technology.
Help us get into the mindset of the referee, Mr. Hlungwani. When things like that are at your disposal as a ref, do you feel, does it make you better at your job? Or do you feel there's a bit of a complex involved where you just feel as if so much responsibility is taken away from me, so I feel a bit less of a referee than I was without all that assistance?
No, VAR enters on obvious errors. Obvious errors relating to those 4 incidents that I mentioned. So we do have obvious errors relating to those. A goal is scored, and only to find assistant said offside, and it was not offside. So that is obvious error. So when VAR comes in, they help us. A penalty that the referee missed, and VAR says, the player was kicked, or there was deliberate handball. And then when they come to assist you, how nice it is. Straight red card. You saw Mabasa was supposed to have received a straight red card, but he did not receive it. We don't know why, because when I was watching the match on TV, I immediately shouted, red card, red card. But now when the referee does not come out, you're like, hey, I wish I could send a message or WhatsApp that referee, hey, give a red card, that is straight red card. But he does not have that technology. So that technology will assist us. Being
that referee for that Mabasa thing and you sitting at the TV, how different is that? You know, you've been a referee, for example. Like, the public is seeing it on TV and the referee is seeing it on the field, for example. You know what I mean? You are prone to errors, or maybe something just happened in a split second, you know what I mean? I'm not saying obviously it was a clear red card, but how different is that?
I will share my experience. I once gave a red card where I was not sure. But through experience, they will always tell you, look for some clues. When a player is kicked and he shouts, nothing. Once you scream, it's fear. And where did I get it? From one of the doctors of the team. He tells me, Victor, when a player screams, there's nothing. It's fear. Look at the player who is kicked. He will be quiet because he's feeling pain. So if you do an assessment of that incident, you will see that boy was quiet because he's feeling pain. So that's one thing. Now you go to other considerations. Was there straight leg use, point of contact with studs? then it will give you to a credible decision. So now, there, whichever angle you might have looked at, you will see that he went with stats. So when you look at the doctors don't lie. They will treat at the place where the infringement occurred. You will see some players holding here, and the doctors will come and treat at the exact place where he's feeling pain. Yeah. So now, if you look at that incident, the doctors were treating somewhere here, shin. So now you look at that, you said, no. So you sometimes take a risk and say, here they rather say I'm harsh. As long as they start showing with excessive force, then, and when I look at that incident on TV after I gave a red card, I even clapped hands for myself. I'm like, experience count.
It wasn't even a yellow.
That wasn't even a yellow. And that's where viewing angle comes in. But if viewing angles fails you, now you look for some clues. The clues is, where are the doctors treating?
Yeah.
What was the point of contact? Was the straight leg? If the straight leg, my friend, it escalates. If it's 100, it goes 60, red card because of straight leg.
Yeah.
Now you're waiting for point of contact. If point of contact is exactly that, I go for red, we'll support you.
So then, okay, you say you made that decision, that particular decision based on your experience, right?
Yes.
So what about the referee that isn't as experienced? And in that moment, something like that happens. How important do you feel the ability to deliberate, the ability to calm down, manage the situation, think about it, maybe get some assistance again from your assistants? How important do you think that is for referees, especially as they're learning?
It comes with the teaching.
Yeah.
If you are taught by a good teacher, you are bound to perform better.
Right.
But if you are taught by a teacher who does not care, or a teacher who is not, looking for something that can assist the referee, then you will perform badly. So the teaching, and also yourself, watching other games,
right,
it helps to improve yourself, because the way Lwazi will deal with this situation, it will be different to the way Victor will deal with this situation. But at the end of the day, what we are looking for is the correct decision. So now, you as a ref, you need to look at yourself and say, when I watch this game, if it was me, how will I have handled this situation? Then it prepares your mind. When that situation happens, your mind is ready to can deal with that. So that's one area where we are lacking. Remember, in South Africa, we promoted a large number of referees at the same time.
Right.
And then when my generation left the system, then they have not milked enough of the experience because it was already late, but then something needed to be done in order to close that gap. There's a gap there whereby the experience is lacking in terms of us quickly gelling in the situation where we were. I mean, I refereed with Walter Mchumela, Petras Matabela, Jerome Diamond. I could pick up, Jerome does not run, but his anticipation is very good. Bennett, what are his qualities? Bennett is also good with reading of the game, and is also good with simulation. Then I take that character and that character, and then when Gomez came, I said, hey, this one, quick with the red cards. Then the game will tell you, this one, Pirates and Chiefs, it does not need the referee will go with red cards and yellow. It needs management. Now Jerome's attitude comes in, Bennett, you combine and make yourself. Then you go to Pirates, Sundowns. They kick. There you must be Gomez.
You've got no choice but to be...
You must be Gomez then, you be strict, and then you'll handle the game according to the way the players react.
Yeah.
If they want to play, allow them to play. If they don't want to play, you hold it, and then they will come, in political language, they say, out of order. They will be in order.
I'm going to come back to that, because what you're just saying screams the term discretion, and we hear it all the time. The ref is allowed to use their discretion here and there. So we'll come back to that. Let's go back now to journalism, Lorenz. As a medium, its importance in shaping public opinion, its importance in driving conversation in and around the sport.
Look, I think for us, it's easy to drive conversation around the big three, Chiefs, Pirates, and Sundowns, because they have such massive fan bases. But the difficult part is to create interesting and engaging content outside of that.
Yeah.
For example, what we've seen now lately, like let's say with the national team, the public has fallen out of love with the national team, and that's probably also because of lack of marketing, lack of, being more modern in their approach to bringing fans to the stadium, and also, some of like he said, the referees go out. So some of the top senior sports writers are out of the game now because newsrooms are shutting down, or some publications are closing. So these guys who really drove the Bafana narrative. Obviously, results counts as that as well. But yeah, the difficult part is, pumping up a Hlungwani player for doing well, or Stallies. I mean, when they 25 games unbeaten, I mean, it becomes easy. Yeah. So yeah, the public opinion is also, it is a difficult thing. But I mean, the bigger the platform, the easier it becomes, because people, they want to be right. You know what I mean? And they want to have people around them that agree with them. Yeah. So the bigger your platform is, the easier, things become. So if I say tomorrow, I think this guy is a player of the season, I would say, let's say 40 to 50% of the following would agree with me because they trust me and my judgment. That doesn't come overnight. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think the media does play a crucial role. And obviously we pick up things that other people say. I'm not going to... I was guilty of saying this should have been a red card, and the flack I got after that, So I prefer now, I'm going to go, Victor, he said this. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's not me, he said this, you know what I mean? So yeah, having credible voices is very important. If I want to get across a point, if only Lucas Redebe, somebody that has a lot of credibility to drive messages.
And how difficult is it then because again, we work in a world where pretty much every fan feels their opinion is right and the next person's opinion is wrong. How difficult is that from your perspective to try to contend with while you are, sticking to the principles of journalism, going after the truth and, the who's and the where's and the how's?
It's very difficult because it also depends on the medium. If I'm sitting here doing a 1 hour podcast, it might be easier to drive a message because you can break down things, you can speak, you can engage, you can debate and whatever. If you write a story that's 300 words, somebody can read it and say, this guy's talking rubbish, because you can't get into, you can't contextualize it. If you're on Facebook and you say something, they can disagree with you and you can have a back and forth. But as soon as you start having a back and forth, you're losing that fight. You're 100% losing that fight. So it all just depends on the medium. For example, a fan can hate me and fight me, but then I'll meet him in the streets and he'll hug me and he wants to take a picture and he engages me like a human being. But on social media, people, they want to fight. I don't know why, but it's a strange situation. But it's difficult on social media. It's
when you say that their players should be sent off.
That's when they start fighting. They make you feel like you can't have an opinion, because I said in this week particularly, that's why I laughed when I got the brief for this thing. In this week particularly, I was sitting in front of the TV as well, and I saw clear red card for Lunga. He should have got 2 yellow cards. And I said, and I wasn't thinking, I was sitting on my couch. I said, Lunga must get sent off, which he should have, right? The coach even says after that was a yellow card. Right. And then I'm at Orlando Stadium and I don't have replays. I said, hey, Mabasa, bad tackle. He's lucky to have escaped the red card. So now automatically I became biased. Because I said Lunga, who I saw 10 replays, should have been sent off. Where I'm at the stadium and I say, that looked bad. He should have maybe get sent off. And then all of a sudden, you support Pirates. Because of those two different ways. Yeah. And if I look at it, of course it looks bad, but it's not intentional. Yeah. And then I went after the press conference, I went to my phone, and there were screenshots everywhere. This guy hates Sundowns, this guy hates Sundowns, he's biased, he's a clown, blah, blah. And I wasn't even thinking of it like that. All I was thinking was like, I didn't see that well, that's why I talked about the referee. Yeah. If you couldn't see it, maybe give him a yellow, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's even the same in general. We're not allowed to get anything wrong, or you just have to be very careful of how you say things because of how it's interpreted. So I'm not saying that they're wrong, but it's never intentional. So you just need to be very careful how we say things.
Let's go back then, Mr. Hlungwani, to that whole discussion about discretion. As a referee, when do you start trusting yourself that decisions you make are more often than not the correct ones?
Yeah, Lwazi, there are decisions that are straightforward. If it's serious foul play, it's a red card. There are decisions whereby the referee can use his discretion. I remember I did one game in Cape Town. The player was not happy with my whistle. So he came to me, these free kicks are going one way. We're getting nothing. So that's dissent.
Right.
By words and action. So I should give that player a yellow card. Then I decided, no man, yeah, my friend, these decisions are going one way because you are not doing your job. You are not scoring. You see that coach is waiting for you to score so that he can behave. You see those supporters. When you score, you'll make them hit, but you are not doing your job. Yeah. So do your job and score goals. Me, I referee this match. Yeah. Then from there, the player just walked away. And guess what? Second half, he scored the goal. He went to the corner, celebrate. He came straight to me. I'm doing my job. I'm scoring. I'm like, so you see that discretion that I use there.
Right.
I use it, in a positive way that this player, instead of me giving him a yellow card, it doesn't help because he's emotionally charged. Yeah. But speaking to him, and end of the match, I was very happy because he came to me and said, yeah, Mr. Rev, I wish we could have you next week, man. I said, why? I said, no, someone will have given me a yellow card, but you decided to speak to me, and then after that, I said, I want to prove to you that I can score a goal. So that's where discretion comes in. So you must use discretion where it's necessary, not when it's unnecessary. If Mabasa kicked a player like that, you say use the discretion. What discretion? Because it's serious foul play, it's red. Libusa kick the player there is supposed to get a red card. There's no discretion there. But in the side the field of play, in the center circle, there are situations that demand you to use your discretion and man management.
Yeah. Perhaps then expand on that for us, because we've heard plenty of this where, as far as public opinion is concerned, we'd like to think that no, referees within the first 5 minutes are not going to give serious cautions, even if it's a bad tackle, but it's still the first 5 minutes. So, it's still okay. And things like, the game is big. We don't want to spoil it, as it were, by sending someone off.
Yeah, Lwazi, in 2010, I was in the World Cup.
Yeah.
I was a referee liaison officer for Polokwane. So all the referees who refereed in Polokwane, they were under my control. I was given a phone at time being a paid, man. It was like, and I had police. I was a big man. Now, when we go to the dressing room in Polokwane, the instructor will tell the referees, first 10 minutes, talk to the player, talk. Unless it's serious. Serious, you give. But no serious, talk, communicate. Their English is not that well. So I learned from there that, okay, the first 10 minutes, you need to talk to the players. And then if it's serious, then you give. And another man who helped me a lot in terms of, developing my game. There's an old man at PSL who is late now, Dan Libo.
Yeah.
He was running the Vodacom Challenge. You know the Vodacom Challenge
100%.
that had all the teams all over the world coming to play Pirates and Chiefs.
Yeah.
So when PSL started, they were sent to England to learn how they do it. And then when he came back, he came with lots of things. And he said to me one day, because I told him, hey, brother, Bella Vodacom Challenge, I want to be in. So 2011, I was lucky, he put me in there.
Yeah.
So I drove with him, he was telling me, Victor, these players, they are not iron. They are human beings, they listen. Some of them, when you speak to them, they change behavior.
Yeah.
I'm like, huh? He said, yeah, look at England. They speak to them, they change behavior, and game become exciting. So you guys, you want to referee with yellow cards, everything, bing, bing, bing. Talk to them, they change behavior. So I started practicing that. I started watching the English FM. Like, no, man, when you communicate with them, no, some players change behavior. And a lot of them, I assisted a lot of them, including Katsande, because I told him, hey, when you go
I've heard your story. I've heard you.
When you go for your tackle and then you miss the ball, you get an opponent. The power, the force that you use is more higher. So it means it's either red or yellow, my friend. So try and make sure you get the ball.
Yeah.
And 3 times after we spoke, he got man of the match because this tackle was and then he got the man and the ball at the same time. So no problem with that.
Yeah.
So now, if you look at the influence that the referee had through experience, that's what we talk about when we say experience is key.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to add on to that.
I just find it interesting that I also picked up on the English, having fat conversations with the players.
Yeah.
And we don't see much of it. It's just like it's the players versus the ref.
Yeah.
In some cases here in PSL.
No, you are right. The other thing that England as well, they show a lot of dissent to the referee's decision.
Yes.
And showing lack of dissent, remember it's a yellow card, depending on how the referee will manage it. So the English referees will manage it better. But now there came a danger whereby the English national team, when they go out of England and play other nations, dissent, they don't allow it.
Yeah.
So they were hammering them like hell in terms of dissent.
Yeah.
And then they now have to change it. Hey, this dissent is too much. In England, we tolerate, but outside the referees, they don't tolerate. I mean, we do have our own Gomez. You know Gomez, when you come, he will shower you with a yellow card, except for Mo Salah who survived. He said, you want to be the referee?
But I mean, it is funny because some of these referees, they hammered, like I said, this is the worst. Everybody hated Gomez. The players, the coaches, and then when he retires, they clap hands and say he was an amazing referee. So it is interesting. As soon as they retire, when they're gone, they realize, this was actually a top official.
Exactly, because certain games need Gomez.
100%.
Yeah, certain games need Gomez, certain games need Hlungwani. So now
high-profile games is where they're seen the most.
Exactly, and if a red card has to be issued, it is not issued, you think of Gomez. If Gomez was there, this one will have been sent off. Yeah.
I want to come back to you, Lorenz. You've mentioned you have been accused, as I guess everyone who's involved in this game, in whatever way, of being biased. You've been accused of being, partial, of being, supporting one team instead of the other. The difficulties of just within what you do, the work you do, whether it's written or now you've gone into a lot of vlogging and things like that. The difficulty of staying impartial, of staying unbiased. And I bring this up because you're now having a chat, and I'm not going to mention which team that you grew up supporting, but I'm the same. Before we were involved in football, there are football teams that we grew up loving, to a T. So, but once you are in the space, you are encouraged to be impartial. So how difficult has that journey been for you?
Look, I come from Cape Town, so there was a couple of teams. It's not like I was born in a certain place and whatever. A couple of teams that I liked. There wasn't one specific, so for example. But when you enter the space as a professional journalist and things, I think when you're in the space of going to matches, going to press conferences, interview, you kind of lose it to an extent. Like, it doesn't matter, you know what I mean? And I think I'm still young, so I have made mistakes. I think where I've made mistakes is relationships with certain clubs. So, for example, when maybe I'm not getting that interview that I've been searching for 6 months or whatever, then I kind of cover one club less than the other, you know what I mean? Or, for example, they say you're a fan of a certain club because they open their doors for media days more than the other. And we have no control about that. And what I have tried to do is become more transparent. Like, no other journalist posts, hey, I'm going to this club now today, shows this is what we're doing here, even what we're eating, for example. So that's the transparency that I was trying to show. And then it's misguided and say, oh, you're sitting by your favorite club all the time. You know what I mean? So, look, it became easy because it's just a job. It's a job. It's not like you coming there and you're celebrating. I think the national team is where my lines are blurred of being, impartial and things like that. But generally, I found it's been a simple thing. As soon as I came into the space, this one you cover this way, this one you cover this way. It's all the same.
You've recently started doing something that's very interesting, and I see a lot of people in our space doing it as well, where you are a bit adaptable to the times, and again, you're a writer by trade, yes? But you've gone into the video space, vlogging. Was it something you felt you needed to do?
Yes, there's many factors that come into consideration. We all know that this is not like the most lucrative of industries in the world, so you need to find other ways, other streams of income and whatever, and obviously video, you get ad revenue and things like that. But more importantly, it also it takes away that bias, or how can I say, were you being unfair to a coach? Because I could be in a press conference and you could say something and I interpret it completely different to you. You know what I mean? So the videos, it takes away that thing where the guy phones me after I write the story. You misquoted me, blah. Bro, you said that. The video is there. You can see. It's word for word. You know what I mean? So I think in that space, it's taken a lot of that friction away from players and from some certain coaches where they say, you twisted my words and things like that. So I'd still write the stories, but the video is out there just to say, hey, this is what you said. And I'm not adding my 2 cents in there about it, like with a story where I could possibly do that, but I try not to.
No, doing a fantastic job at it as well. Mr. Hlungwani, let me come back to you. You've mentioned Katsande. Were there or have there been players that during your career you wouldn't say single out, but you knew if they're on the pitch, there's a certain sort of demeanor I have to take up with them because they become notorious for this, that, and the other?
Yeah, they were there. Katsande is one, and Mabizela. Katsande just talked too much.
Yeah.
Whenever you blow a whistle, I remember one day I was doing Amazulu Chiefs, so I gave a penalty for Amazulu. Shaba dived in the box. I did not give a penalty. You know, Shaba will just, once you put your hands up, then we know because something simulation.
Yeah.
Now he will come to you and say, if you give a penalty day, why don't you give another one a day? So then you will like, Marakata. You can see Shaba is diving. I said, no, man. But the other time, hey, they got him. Hey, someone kicked him, literal, bah! And then, like I said, when the player is kicked, he's feeling pain, he will be quiet. Now he was quiet, feeling pain. Now I arrive in the scene there and like, huh? Then he suddenly look at me and said, if it was me, it's a yellow card. But now it's not me, no yellow card. I said, no, don't worry, Shangwari. Yellow card is coming. I'm just assessing the severity of your injury. So we used to have that interaction. But then Mabizela was somebody. I do Vets and Sundowns. You know, he was from Sundowns, he went to Vets. Now the supporters are singing like, Uyazisola, Uyazisola, Mabizela, Aushengela Sandawan, Uyazisola, Mabizela. He's angry at the supporters.
Yeah.
Now he's messing up my game. When the player comes, wata. Lafo comes, wata. I'm like, Mabizela, easy. Then the second one, wata. I said, now yellow card comes out. When you give him a yellow card, it tells, Vele, Vele. You're like, man, this man, I'm not in conflict with you. How do you say, Vele, you wanted me to get a yellow card? Then I'm like, okay, I just move on. The third one, you know Lafomus. Apparently they told him, you must go after him. Lafo came, what? I said, yeah, Vele, some fun cook He was kneeling down, my friend. And then I went past, counted the 10 yards and moved. End of the match, he came to me and said, I was like, yeah, psychologically it worked for me.
Yeah.
But for him to say, I mean, I'm just a referee enforcing the laws of the game. I'm not in conflict with anyone. But for these two players, when you go into a match, you must know that today you'll have a tough time. You just have to be prepared. The rest of the players, we could manage them better. So these two, bogo problem. Yeah, this one will just open his. That's one I will manage him nicely. Open his eyes, big eyes. I say, hey, my child will be afraid at home, so please go away. And then he will just go away and say, I won't even give him that. This is decent.
Yeah.
But because I know I told him that, hey, my eyes is afraid. My child is afraid of those big eyes. Close them, go away. Because he will just come and say, first offense.
He was a very rough player as well.
You're like, but there's no law that says first offense, second. There's no law. And you find them saying, this is my first tackle.
Yeah, we see that a lot.
Yeah,
we see it a lot. Yeah, the first offense, you shouldn't book me.
Which law?
Yeah.
Which law?
So it's not a law.
There's no law. There is players' law. In the laws of the game, we don't have such a thing. It's called careless, reckless, excessive force. If it's reckless, yellow. If it's excessive force, red card. If it's careless, well, it's yellow, it's whistle, nothing. Bona, they will come for a reckless tackle. First offense. Even the worst is stopping a promising attack.
Yeah.
A player is going, you pull him, you say it's first. It doesn't work like that.
And is there a warning after the yellow card? Let's say you got a yellow card. Is there a warning before the red? Let's say it's a tag or something.
Yeah, referee will have to see if there's a player covering. Referee will say, okay, there's a player covering. But if it's towards the 18 penalty area, my friend, there's nothing. But if it's around the center, referees can say, no, I can manage this one. And say, hey, you're already on a yellow. Because that's tactical foul. Okay. You're already on a yellow. If you continue doing that, you'll be sent off. Now, clever coaches, there are good coaches who can see that this one will get a red card. They take him out. But there are some coaches that are, my friend, they are just sleeping on the bench.
They don't even know the guy.
I will give you an example. Remember when Gabuza in Polokwane, he scored, supporters were giving him trouble.
Yes.
He scored.
Yeah.
He got out, he removed his shirt.
Yeah.
He went to the dressing room.
He threw the shirt and he substituted himself.
Now
comes back to the bench.
Pirates want to make a sub. Referee says, no, you can't make a sub. We want Gabuza. I don't know who brought Gabuza back. When he brought Gabuza back, referees were very happy and said, thank you very much. Second yellow, red. But coaches like Jomo, do you think he will have brought him back? No. What happened to Benny McCarthy? Straight to the dressing room. Amen. Case closed. They make a sub. So now, in that case, you ask the wisdom of the coaches in terms of understanding the laws of the game to say, if you bring him back, you are risking a yellow card. Yeah. Let him stay there.
So if Gabuza had to stay in the dressing room, they wouldn't have been given him a card?
I asked the referee on the day because I said, my friend, what happened? Why didn't you give him while he was going? He said, that thing was so quick. I said, no, what will happen? Because that was almost halftime. Yeah. So they went to halftime, Pirates played with 10 players. Then when they come for second half, referees also demanded that he must come back. So they brought him back. If they did not, referees was forced to allow Pirates to make a sub because the player is not there. Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's very tricky. You need to use your intelligence. If it was me, I'll have not restarted the match and say, I want Gabuza here.
He must come back first.
Yeah, if he's not here, then I will have issued the yellow card so that everyone can see that he's not here. Rather than allowing him to go and restart the match, what if he does not come back?
Yeah.
There's one referee who missed the World Cup, the one where Jomo Cosmos allowed Benny to go. That referee missed the World Cup because of that incident.
That single incident.
That single incident cost someone a World Cup spot. Oh. Why didn't you send him off?
Okay, we are going to be wrapping up shortly, but I think sticking with this, I want to quickly ask you, what's the quickest first and second yellow that you've brandished in your career?
Hey, nice one. Yeah, it was, I was doing a game, Sundowns and Mpumalanga Black Aces. I think on that day, Pizzo sang lots of praises for me. I don't have a problem with the referee. Referee had a good game. I gave a red card to Mabokwan.
Yeah.
Mabokwan, a yellow card for time wasting. He took the ball, bah! Second yellow, red.
So all of this literally in one action?
In one action. Yellow card for time wasting, Mpumalanga Black Aces is leading 1-0. Yeah. And then, bah! That is dissent now. Everyone can see, I cannot avoid it. Second yellow, red. Now he goes, they put Shaib Walters. Sundowns were playing the high ball, Shaib Walters, B. Play high ball, B. End of the match, that 1-0, it was first half. Yeah. The whole second half, Aces was defending, they won 1-0.
Yeah.
Here comes Pito. Some people say Pito does not talk good about the referee. That day I can tell you, he said, because I did not hear it, I heard it later, that, yes, Pito was singing praises of you. So, I don't have a problem with the referee. The referee handled the match very, very well. I lost. And then he accepted because his players were doing the high balls. So that was good for me. But the red card as well, even now we joke about it with Mabokwan. How can you, Jacob, I call him Jacob, how can you do that? You can't do that because now you're risking yourself of getting a red card. Because if you come to the referee and say, referee, we will never give you. But once you put your hands up, you must just know, my friend, you have sold yourself because when the TV people ask themselves, what was that yellow card for? They see these hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they see these hands, you have sold yourself. If I give you, now everyone can accept that this is it. But if you come and say, Victor, what was that? Then I will never give you. I said, my friend, I'm only human being. I can make a mistake as well. And then that's it. But once you show dissent by action, the commissioner on top can see, your coach can see. But by words, we are told, hey, try and manage because it can only be heard by you.
Right.
Manage it. And it's working quite very well. One day, this one of Kingston Carter, I said, hey, Carter, you risking yourself of getting a unnecessary yellow card. I said, yeah, you can give me. You see this? Yeah, you can give me. I said, thank you very much. I stopped the game and gave. Because this hand has sold him. The Baxter asked, what was that yellow card for? No. You saw the hand, coach. I saw it, yeah, decent. Finish.
Yeah.
Yeah, khalas.
Absolutely wonderful. So in closing then, let's try and maybe explore the relationship between the media and the referees. How you feel it is right now. Can it be better? Can it be bettered? I mean, we started by Mr. Hlungwani pointing out that it has been a rough time for referees. From a media's perspective, what can be done to remedy that, you feel?
I think, it would be very difficult if, let's say, a referee had a bad game. Let's say the Nedbank Cup final, have a bad game, and then journalists bombarding him with calls and say, why did it? I think that sets a bad precedent. Yeah. So it's like shows like, with the principal over here, and I think Ace Noble also has a show as well, where we take those opinions and we put it out to the media. And people still argue with it, but
Yeah.
they kind of, there's a level of respect higher than, let's say, if a journalist or coach had to say this is their opinion on the matter. But I do think that, like just having a representative, like I think Abdul Ibrahim, often he often avails himself to the media to explain certain things. But going back to what Mr. Gomes said, he said something interesting. He said, if the football is better, the referee can be better. And if the referee is better, the football is better.
Yeah.
So it's not just pointing fingers at the referee. But the one thing, me personally, that I'm annoyed with in the PSL is that there's too many fouls. I feel that the game is disrupted too much compared to, let's say, Premier League or La Liga, for example. But with the question, the referee, I think we're getting in a better space because of these shows.
Yeah.
So that people can understand. I think there's only been one red card recently that I had my head scratching, was the Mobara one. Against Pirates, yes. And I naturally assume Mobara was swearing. No, we were swearing at the referee because I know what area he's from. I know exactly what he would have said.
Yeah.
But the coach, maybe the coach is also Spanish. He doesn't know what the guy said in Afrikaans. But to this day, I don't know why that was a red card, and it was never explained really from that referee or anything.
So same question to you, Mr. Hlungwani, but in two parts. He's just brought up something that's quite interesting. Do you guys have those conversations in referees' meetings where you feel that maybe there's something that can be done in quickening up the pace of the game from a refereeing standpoint?
Yeah, let me start by answering Mubara's red card. It was for Dogso. Remember, it was one-on-one.
Yes.
It was not for swearing. He was just frustrated that, but
denying an obvious goal-scoring opportunity. Yeah.
But then remember, we explained that he got the ball.
Yes.
So, but because it was one-on-one, the referee blew. Referee thought, no, he made the tackle and an infringement.
Yes.
Yeah. Coming to the relationship, I mean, referees are not allowed to speak to the media. When they speak, it will be not about decisions. Yeah, it's something else. Maybe your career, how it started, and so on and so on. Not about decisions. But the retired ones, we are required to can assist. I mean, in my space, my job is to educate and inform, because the laws of the game are easy to understand, but they are made difficult by the players, the coaches, spectators, media, administrators, and referees themselves make it difficult.
Yeah.
So we need to bridge that gap and make that understanding to say why the referee made that call. This is the law, and every time we need to support our decision with the law. Don't come and say it was red card. Why? You can't support. So we need to bring those elements. Straight leg, excessive force, point of contact with studs. Then you begin to understand, oh, okay, that's why it is red card. So now that understanding, or the way we put it, they now have to put it better for the public to understand more.
Yeah.
Easier.
Because we try and use easy English there, because if we can go deeper and say this is contra bonus mores, it will confuse you worse.
Professional foul. That's a professional foul.
Yeah, and we don't have professional foul. We have dogs. So you guys call it professional foul. But when we are together, we are able to get the common understanding that it's not professional foul per se. In the law term, it's dogs, so denying an obvious goal-scoring opportunity. So the retired referee have a huge responsibility to know, to educate the public whenever they get platform, because they are no longer involved in the game. Yeah. What are they? How do they plow back? By answering those questions to give clarity. I mean, giving clarity, there's no problem as long as you support your decision with law. Then so that they can write better, so that everyone who's watching can understand better, and then that becomes building a better world for the game.
So with that, then you just said, how's that received in general by the current referees that you guys are basically reviewing?
Now, there are some that we talked. Yeah. They will tell you, yeah, I made a mess there, Bravi. I don't know. I don't know what was my... some will miss a clear offside where, for example, the one of Mango challenging the goalkeeper while he's having the ball.
Swallows Kukune. Yes.
Yeah, then you ask him, my friend, the law is clear. Yeah. The goalkeeper cannot be challenged while holding the ball. Even if he tosses it up in the air, even if he uses a finger to hold the ball, he cannot be challenged.
Yeah.
Now he's challenged, you can't protect the keeper. "Eish, ingishayile Bravik, ingishayile." So, but as soon as the referee accepts, it means he can improve in the next one.
Yeah.
The only problem is when I make a mistake, Lwazi make the same mistake that I make, then I have a problem with that, because you should learn from other referees' mistakes to improve the game. At the end of the day, the football community want a credible decision. We cannot have a repeat. So when we have a repeat, it means something is wrong in the system and it needs to be corrected immediately.
But I do think it's very interesting
Yeah.
because we're never going to have a football match without mistakes. I mean, you can't. I mean, and I think a lot of people in Europe and England have been complaining about VAR, that it's taking away the talking points. You know what I mean? Like, okay, yes, you talk about clear and obvious things, but I think it was part of the charm that a referee got something wrong.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? Like, there's talking points. So when there's a refereeing a glaring error, a bad mistake like Mahango, I'm happy. Because I'll go on Monday and I got a good story to write about,
Yeah.
and a lot of people is going to read it, and my editor's going to be happy. You know what I mean? Without that mistakes, what are the people going to be complaining about, reading about, you know, debating about? So it's just part of football, and I think it's misguided for people to sit there and think like we can have a game of football without any mistakes. It's never going to happen.
Food for thought that.
Mistakes will always be there. But then VAR enters on four things. The others you can write corner or no corner, throw or no throw, I gain VAR. So you can write about it.
In England, they're still getting things wrong with the VAR.
That's true.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
true. You know, and I guess that's why I did ask at the beginning of our chat, how ready are we as, you know, a country, as a football-loving country for VAR? Because if England or Europe and the number of years that they've been using it are still to this day struggling with it, imagine us. We are so opinionated.
In CAF, we were the AFCON. We were very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. CAF did a good educational program for referees. England, they microwaved it.
Yeah, it's a quick fast.
They
yeah.
were quick. Remember, England, they make rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, England, Scotland, Wales, and Ireland. Those are the four countries in 1863.
IFAB, yeah.
That's the IFAB. That started the loss of the game. So now they want to be first every time. So they started with the VAR that, you know, was quick. So when you quick, you know, one day I was at home, I asked my wife, can you make me eggs quickly? I'm going to the field of play. She put eggs in the microwave. I'm like, huh? What type of cooking is that? She said, no, again, you are in a hurry.
Yeah.
So I ate, but I was like, I've never seen eggs fried in the microwave. It was for the first time. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if you have seen it.
Yeah.
And so that microwave, it's not properly cooked. So in England, the VAR was microwave.
Yeah.
So in South Africa, we have learned from that. We cannot microwave it. We need to gradually develop our referees, train them properly so that when they finally implement it, it will be the same way as CAF. Because if you look at the recent AFCON, it was very good. I mean, you saw some red cards, penalties correctly given by VAR. Only one that I was not happy when Sadio Man was supposed to get a red card. He did not get, but that referee was sent home immediately. CAF is more serious about, you know, people who make obvious errors that, you know, it will look like people are supporting, or CAF is supporting Sadio Mane to stay in the game. If it's wrong, it's wrong.
You don't want a red card, the superstar.
Exactly. And then in this one, who had batted,
Zidane.
he was sent off. So you need to apply the laws of the game when it's clear and obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you don't, your ticket will be printed.
Just sent
You'll be
home.
the first person to go. And CAF don't play with that. Eh?
Gentlemen, thank you ever so much for your time. Lorenz Kohler, as well as Victor Hlungwani. Referee, you've seen him do his job. You've seen him do it really well. He's now doing the wonderful job of educating us about the rules that govern world football. Lorenz, you'll see him writing his columns. You'll see him on video sometimes. You'll see him globe-trotting sometimes. You know, AFCON, World Cup, Euros, all of these, and doing a fantastic job at it as well. Thank you so much for your time. That is episode 8